Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're tuning in. Today we are talking about gear, and gear more specifically for real estate photography. And we're not going to be talking about just camera and not just lens. We're going to be talking about all the other little things that you need in order to make your life a lot easier. I'm going to save you time. I'm going to save you money. I'm going to show you links to things that I've personally invested a lot of money in. If I could go all back and do it again, this is the exact setup that I would start with. Real estate photography is a whole different ballgame compared to shooting family portraits or, well, landscapes for that matter. It's pretty in-depth. Not only that is because you can't just walk into a room and, push the shutter button and be done. There's a lot more post-processing that needs to take place. But we're going to get into that, and I have a lot of tutorials out here on YouTube about how to do that. So what gear do I use? Well, like I mentioned before, I started full frame, and I'm down to Micro Four Thirds now. Basically what Micro Four Thirds is a sensor that is half the size of a full frame sensor. So everything is a 2x crop. So I'm shooting on the Olympus EM1 Mark II, which you can pick these up now used on eBay for about $500-$600. Let me start off by saying that Micro Four Thirds, while they're not as good in low light, and you're going to hear that all the time, is as full frame, it doesn't matter because you're on a tripod. You can control, you can bring that shutter down as low as you need to. So really, low light has no disadvantage. Okay, but the nice thing about Micro Four Thirds is that your depth of field is twice that of full frame with the same aperture. So you're allowing the same amount of light in with twice the amount of focal plane. Does that make sense? You can shoot at f2.8 on a Micro Four Thirds, and it's the equivalent of shooting at f5.6 on a full frame. And typically that's all you need as long as you're shooting wide enough. Typically I'm talking, 15, 16 millimeters on full frame. Here we are at, I have a 9-18. So what is that? An 18 millimeter to 36 millimeter, which is a nice zoom range. But we'll get into that lens and your lens options and pricing here in a second. The other thing I love about Micro Four Thirds, and particularly the Olympus line, starting with the EM1 Mark II, is the battery life is awesome. The other thing is this flip out screen. You can have it flat up against the side, but I typically am just running like this, so you're not having to bend down and crouch down like you would normally without a camera that doesn't have a flip out screen. So that's a huge convenience. So now let's talk about lens choices. The Olympus 7-14mm f2.8 Pro, going right now, you can get it used for $650 to $700. Brand new, we're looking at about $750, $800 to be safe, okay? That Leica 7.5 f2 lens I was talking about, used all day long for $400. And again, you could do that. That would be your all-around, that's great in low light at f2, great for video. The other lens that I would recommend is the Panasonic 7-14mm, and that is an f4 lens. So it's not going to be super good for low light as shooting video, but it does give you that 7mm at the wide angle, and then jumping up to 14mm at the high end of the focal range, which would be all you would need for real estate photography. So if I had to choose which lens would I go with, I would probably go with the Olympus 7-14 f2.8 Pro. And I'm going to put up a picture right here where it has that focal, they call it a defocusing clutch. So when you push that clutch in, it gives you like a true manual focus as opposed to the focus by wire system. So let's go on to flash setup. Now you have options. You can go with a standard flash. This is a Neewer, and the exact number is NW865S. I will leave links to all this stuff down below. You can get away with one flash. But if you're going to go with one flash, I highly recommend you actually picking up 2 flashes. You're going to be glad you did. Get one of these, or actually get 2 of these, or better yet, go with the Godox 8200. And why I say that is because there's going to be situations where you're going to need more power than just one of these at full power. So the 8200 is about the equivalent of 4 of these going off at the same time at full power. And that is going to be pretty much all you need. Now, you can get away with just a single flash. And like I said before, I have tutorials on how to shoot with flash, whether you just do ceiling bounce to light the room or you use a shoot-through umbrella. Now, you can get away with just using a shoot-through umbrella and using a single flash, or get 2 of these, because you don't need as much power if you're shooting through an umbrella. So that's something to think about. If you're on a really tight budget and you don't want to spend the $300 to $400 for a Godox 8200 right now, then just get a couple of these. You know, I don't quote me on this. I'm going to leave links down below, but I believe $40-50. So $100, you can get a couple of these. And you're going to need to get the correct trigger that goes with your Godox flash. And everything is specific with these, depending on whether it's a Canon, a Sony, Nikon, Olympus. And then your wireless shutter release. And I have that right here. And I'm using the Pixel Pro TW-283. Batteries last forever in these. They come with 2 AAA batteries in the remote and 2 AAAs in the trigger itself. And that's it. And it just plugs in to the side of the camera. And then I have a clip that I have used. These are the old cell phone clips, the old belt clips right here. And it just sticks on there. It gives you a clip, so you can clip this onto your belt or your pants or whatever. And that way it's always with you. And you can just push that button right there, fire off your shot. Now, the other thing that I've just started recently using is this flash bracket. Now, these are typically made for like events to get your flash above the camera a little bit higher. And I put my tripod mount on the bottom of it, and I put a quick release plate on the top of this, so I can just go right into, and actually I can shut this. This is actually nice. And I screw that down, and then I mount this on my tripod, and I put my flash right on top. That way I can have all my other stuff, all this stuff on my camera, and then it's not weighing down that hot shoe, because the last thing you want to do is start stacking stuff up on that hot shoe. You are going to break that hot shoe off, and if you do that, the camera's pretty much junk, because you're not going to be able to use the flash anymore. So this saves your camera, and it's very sturdy. Once this is mounted to your tripod, you're good to go. And that's the other thing about Micro Four Thirds, is they're not very heavy, and they're small and they're compact. You can fit a lot of lenses, and I fit 2 cameras and a drone and all my extra batteries and 2 or 3 lenses in a small zip-up case. And that is the other thing that I use, that I've had a tutorial on this channel, is the Godox 8600 case, the big strobe. Just the case alone, you can buy that separately empty with all the dividers, which is actually a really good case, because it comes with a shoulder strap, and you can pack all your gear in it, and it has the dividers that you can organize and keep everything organized, so when you get on site, everything is still in the location. You know, if you don't want to spend $300-400 for a Pelican case, you can get one of these Godox cases right here, and they're like $30-40. And maybe the last thing that I want to talk about is picking up a circular polarizer. You're going to notice when you're going to start shooting interiors with like hardwood floors or dark kitchen cabinets, maybe the sun's coming in and you've seen the glare bouncing off those hardwood floors. This allows you to control the glare in certain spots or certain places within the frame. So it's been a game changer for me. And again, I will leave links below to this. But check out my tutorial right here for how to shoot interior real estate photography, and we will catch you in the next video. Bye-bye now.